What is going on, everybody? Osha God here, and today we're going to be doing another deck review. This time, this is my newest one I put together, and it's goblins, mostly goblins and orcs. So, yeah. I've tested this deck a few times online, and right now, it's pretty solid from what I have found out, at least from it. So, we're going to go ahead and get started. So the commander for this one is Uluk of the White Hand, and basically he relies on other creatures dying and that I control at least. And then if a creature was a goblin or orc, you put 2+1/+1 counters on it. So if something dies on my field, it's not an orc or a goblin. It's just one +1/+1 counter, and then the others get an additional. You put 2+1/+1 counters. So if you're having a lot of goblins, like a lot of goblin tokens, like just chump blocking all the time and just taking the damage and dying, you get a lot of +1/+1 counters on it. So let's get started. So first we're gonna do. So we have, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 14 mountains. And I want to make a little comment. Some of these cards, um, and the deck I actually had on hand, and so I had like 25 of the cards in the deck that I built, and then we have, let's see, we have 16 swamps, I believe. Should be 16, yeah, 16 swamps. And then we'll go to our lands. So Baradur. Baradur enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary creature. I can add black. And then I can pay 2 and a black and mass orcs. X activate only if a creature dies this turn. Mortuary Mire, enters tapped. I put a creature card from my graveyard on top of my library, or I can add black to my mana pool. Then we got Rakdos Carnarium, enters tap. When it enters, return a land I control to its owner's hand. So it's a dual land, so 2 taps for 2, black and perhaps for Rakdos, basically. Buffalo Caves comes in tapped, and when it enters, you get a life. This is indestructible land. Enters tapped. It's a dual land. Staple command tower. Looming spires. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains first strike to end a turn. Then I can add red to my mana pool. So those are the lands. Let's go with our sorceries. So send in the pest. Each opponent discards a card. I create a black and green pest creature token. With whenever this token attacks, I gain a life. End of the hunt. Target opponent exiles a creature or planeswalker they control with the greatest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control. The final days, I can create two tapped 2/2 black horror creature tokens. If the spell is cast from graveyard, instead and create X those tokens where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard, and I can use the flashback cost. So pretty cool. Raise to the ground, the spell can't be countered. Destroy target artifact. If its mana value is 1 or less, draw a card. And then I will preface here, this is a Jessica's Will. It is a proxy, so it's not a real one, but Jessica's Will. We all know what that does. But if you don't, basically, uh, I gotta look at the wording, sorry. Choose one if you control a commander. As you cast a spell, you may choose both instead. It can add red for each card in the opponent's hand. Exile the top 3 cards of my library. I may play them this turn. So that is basically the Jessica's Will. I guess, yeah, I'll just throw it. I'll just throw this, what's it called? The Rainbow Foil Edition on Architect, which I'll have the deck link like I always do in the other videos that I've done. Anyways, back to this. Shredder's Revenge. Choose one. Target player discards 2 cards, or target players draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. So they discard or they draw. and they draw, then they take damage. So, Fall of Krug, choose target opponent, destroy target land that player controls. The Fall of Krug deals 3 damage to that player and 1 damage to each creature they control. Bot Bashing Time from Ninja Turtles. Bot Bashing Times deals 6 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile instead. And then we have Resentful Revelation. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, and the rest into the battlefield graveyard. Flashback 6 and black. And that is our sorceries. I'm gonna go with enchantments next. Goblin War Drums. Each attacking creature you control that opponent chooses to block may not be blocked with fewer than 2 creatures. When creating... Oh, okay, that's it. Yeah. It's an old card, so there's only a little bit of stuff on it. Whenever quest for the Goblin Lord, whenever a goblin enters the battlefield under my control, and we put a quest counter on a quest for the Goblin Lord. As long as a quest for the Goblin Lord has 5 or more counters on it, creatures I control get +2/+0. So those goblins come entering the battlefield, pretty nice. Boggart Shenanigans. Whenever another goblin I control is put into a graveyard from play, you may have Boggart Shenanigans deal 1 damage to target player. And then we have Goblin Bombardment. Sacrifice a creature. It deals 1 damage to any target. And those are enchantments for... Oh, wait, one more. We have Book of Miserable. So, Saga 1, amass orcs. Saga 2, amass 2 orcs 2. Saga 3, creatures I control get +1/+0 and gain Menace or Menace till the end of the turn. Let's go with artifacts. I'm gonna do creatures last because it's like the bulk of the deck, other than lands. So Grim Bauble, when this artifact enters, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-2 until end of turn. I can pay 2 and a black, sacrifice the artifact, surveil 2. Potioner's Trove, tapped, add 1 mana of any color. A tap, I gain 2 life. Activate only if you cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn. So it's relying on me casting instants or sorceries, and I can tap it and get 2 life back. Goblin Firebomb with Flash. I can pay 7, sacrifice Goblin Firebomb, destroy target permanent, which is pretty nice. We have a Swiftfoot Boots. Equip creature has hexproof and haste. And equip 1, so pay 1 and equip it. Of course, staple Soul Ring. Add 2 mana, or 2 colorless. Rakdos, pay 1 mana, add Rakdos, so black, red. And Arcane Signet, tap, add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Alright, and then we'll go with our instance. Stomp by the Foot, I can kicker it. Sacrifice an artifact or creature. This creature gets... A target creature gets -2/-2 at the end of turn. If this spell was kicked, that creature gets -5/-5 till the end of turn. So it's pretty nice card. Raphael's Technique, sneak 2 and a red. Cast a spell for that amount of mana. If you do, return an unblocked attacker you control to hand during the declare blocker step. Each player may discard their hand and draw 7 cards. Unsubtle Mockery. It deals 4 damage to target creature. I surveil 1. Overwhelming Surge. Choose 1 or both. It can deal 3 damage to target creature or destroy target non-creature artifact. Then we have Death in the Family. Exile target creature with mana value 3 or less. Cunning Maneuver. Target creature gets +3/+1 until end of turn, and then I create a clue token. Orcus Magician. Target creature gains your choice of lifelink or indestructible until end of turn. Amass Orcs 1. Heated Argument. It deals 6 damage to target creature. You may exile the card from your graveyard. If you do, it deals 2 damage to that creature's controller. Alright, and then last but not least category, we've got the creatures. So let's check them out and see. Let's meet the creatures. Moria Marauder has double strike. When it deals combat damage to a player, either Goblin or Orc, exile top card of my library, and may play that card this turn. And then we have Grub, and then also flips with Menace, and enters or transforms into Grub. Return up to 1 target Goblin card from your graveyard to your hand. At the beginning of your first main phase, if you may pay red. If you do, transform the creature, and then When you transform it, it has menace. Whenever it attacks, I may blight 1. If you do, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of the blighted creature, except it has at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice this token. At the beginning of my first main phase, I may pay black, and then I will transform, grow up back into storied matriarch. Hope I can get into the sleeve with one hand. Oh my god. Hold on. Alright, cool. Back in the sleeve you go, pal. Alright. And then Orcish Siege Master, other orcs and goblins I control have trample. Whenever it attacks, I can get plus X plus 0 until end of turn. X is the greatest power among creatures I control. Legion Warboss, Mentor. At the beginning of a combat on your turn, I create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. That token gains haste until end of turn and attacks as combat if able. Frog Tosser, Brand Array. Haste, goblin spells or rogue spells that cast cost 1 less to cast. Dynamite Diver, it saddles and mounts and crews vehicles as though its power were 2 or greater. When this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. Strife Scholar, when it's prepared, it has the sorcery Awaken the Ages. Create 2 red and white spirit creature tokens. And then Ward, pay 2 life. This creature enters prepared. Goblin Instigator, when Goblin Instigator enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. Goblin Chieftain, haste. Other goblin creatures you control get +1/+1 and have haste. Goblin Glasswright, when it enters prepared. So I can pay a red, create a treasure token. Underfoot Underdogs, when this creature enters, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. Pay 1, target, tap it, target creature you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. Pashalik Wands, when it enters or another goblin you control, when it dies or another goblin, it deals 1 damage to any target. Pay 3 and a red. Sacrifice a goblin, create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. Sling Gang Lieutenant, when Sling Gang Lieutenant enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. Sacrifice a goblin, target player loses 1 life, and I gain a life. Burnout Bastronaut, Menace, start your engines. If you have no speed, it starts at 1. Increases once each of your turns, an opponent loses life. Max speed is 4. 2. Pay 2. This creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Max speed, it has double strike. So once we get the max speed, it gets double strike. So that's pretty cool. Battle Cry Goblin, 1 and a red. Goblins you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. Whenever it attacks, if you attack with creatures with total power 6 or greater, this combat create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. And then we have Gorbag of -Morkel. When a goblin or orc you control when a goblin or orc you control deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. When you do, choose 1. I can draw a card or create a treasure token. Eclipse Boggart. When it enters, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a goblin, swamp, or mountain card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest of the bottom of your library in any random order. Battle Scarred Goblin. When Battle Scarred Goblin becomes blocked, it deals 1 damage to each creature blocking it. Goblin War Chief. Goblin spells cost 1 less to cast, and goblin creatures you control have haste. Elder Auntie. When this creature enters, create a 1/1 black and red goblin creature token. Molten Core Maestro with Menace with Opus. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. If 5 or more mana was spent to cast that spell, add an amount of red mana equal to this creature's power. Ulna Alley Shopkeep with Menace. Infusion, this creature gets +2/+0 as long as you gain life this turn. So when we're getting life, she's getting some stuff. Alright, she gets bigger. Siege Game Commander, when it enters, create a 3 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. 1 and a red, sacrifice a goblin. Siege Gang Commander deals 2 damage to any target. Skirk Prospector. Sacrifice a goblin, add red mana to your mana pool. Squee the Immortal. You may cast Squee the Immortal from your graveyard or from exile. Surith Ungol Patrol. 1 and tap, sacrifice another creature, draw a card, and then create a food token. Goblin Matron. When it enters the battlefield, it may search your library for a goblin card, reveal that card, put it in your hand, and shuffle. Munitions Expert. When it enters the battlefield, it may have it deal damage to target creature or planeswalker equal to the number of goblins you control. Mogwar Marshal. Echo 1 in the red. When it enters the battlefield or dies, put a 1/1 red goblin creature token onto the battlefield. Mad Auntie. Other goblin creatures you control get +1/+1. Tap. Regenerate another target goblin. Mortar Trebuchet. Defender. When you attack with one or more goblins or orcs, create a 2/1 colorless construct artifact creature token with flying, named Ballistic Boulder, that's tapped and attacking. Sacrifice the token at the end of combat. And then Grish Nike Brash Instigator. When it enters the battlefield, amass Orcs 2. When you do, in a turn, gain control of target non-legendary creature an opponent controls with power less than or equal to the amassed army's power. Untap that creature, it gains haste till end of turn. And then we have Krinko Mobboss. Create X 1/1 red goblin creature tokens where X is the number of goblins you control, and you can tap it. And then I believe, yes, so that would be all for our deck here. I do appreciate you guys sticking in with the deck review and everything like that. Anyways, I do hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and remember, you guys are all Oshawott approved. Bye.